In this day and age, a picture can do a lot. Sell a product, promote an event, set an example, and for most celebrities, it gives fans a window into their lives. But for some, their normal self isn't enough. Thank God there's Photoshop, right? Wrong. I'm Adam Andrews with Where Are They Now, and this is the top 10 celebrities and their absolutely botched Photoshop sessions. Coming in at number 10, it's Kris Jenner and Gordan Ramsey. Kicking off our list today is what I consider to be the most hilarious of Photoshop fails on this list. I think the thing that makes this so funny is that both individuals involved posted a very different version of what is pretty much the same photo, but one person clearly didn't care about how they looked in it. Back in 2014, superstar chef Gordan Ramsay and Kardashian/Jenner matriarch Kris Jenner teamed up to create a cookbook. In the kitchen with Kris, which I'm sure is great. To help promote the book, the two posed for a couple social media photos. Gordan posted one with the pair looking completely normal and as great as they always naturally look, but then Kris posted hers. I guess Kris was not a fan of the fact that she was about 59 and Gordan Ramsay was about 48 at the time, and they both had naturally occurring wrinkles, because she airbrushed and filtered the two of them until they became blurry, wax museum horror show versions of themselves. It's just so obviously edited that one commenter even left, quote, "Okay, now press the Control Z on Paint Shop, please." And I gotta say, I agree. Number 9. Why Jeb? Back during the infamous 2016 US election, a super PAC supporting Jeb Bush, who trailed closely behind the candidate Donald Trump, released a pamphlet that featured Bush on the front. It was sent to 86,000 early voting Iowans and shows the former Florida governor standing before the 3rd Avenue Bridge in Cedar Rapids. What it also shows is a really bad Photoshop job that features one Caucasian hand and one hand of a much darker complexion. It appears as though someone decided to superimpose Jeb here over top of another stock image of someone who seemingly was not Jeb's own complexion. And you bet it was used by Mr. Trump as a way to attack Bush's campaign. Well, it may not have been Jeb's fault, as the super PAC is not actually allowed to coordinate with his campaign. It did take the tagline of the pamphlet, "Why Jeb?" which was meant to ask why should you pick Jeb, and turned it into, "Oh God, I can't believe you've done this. Why Jeb? Why?" Number 8. Campaign shirts. But if we're gonna talk about Jeb's indirect Photoshop fail, then we might as well point out one of Trump's, right? In March 2016, presidential candidate Donald Trump's campaign was accused of photoshopping the skin color of a white t-shirt model to be brown instead of just finding and hiring a willing darker skinned t-shirt model. This little error was first pointed out by Eric Ming, the digital director for Maryland Democratic Rep. Donna Edwards. Eric tweeted, "So it appears Donald Trump's campaign photoshopped their model to be brown." This obviously caught the eye of many, including BuzzFeed, who later pointed out that the original image of the Caucasian model wearing a logo-free top appeared on the JCG apparel website, meaning they didn't even hire a Caucasian model either. So essentially, and unsurprisingly, Trump is as cheap as we kind of all expected him to be. Number 7. Madonna's body swap. Speaking of superimposing somebody onto somebody else like they did with Jeb, Madonna made a pretty bold choice back in 2021 when she decided to cut out her face and glue it on top of another girl's body. The 63-year-old singer posted the photo to her Instagram when promoting her album Rebel Heart, but people began to notice that she had decided to body swap with TikToker Amelia Goldie, who at the time was roughly 29. Less than half of Madonna's age. Madonna has never acknowledged this to fans or even to Goldie herself, who actually called Madonna out. It very understandably left Madonna's fans more than a little confused and kind of worried for her. Not to mention, in my opinion, it's kind of creepy as hell, especially when she just never said a single word about the incident. I actually got like this weird chill up my spine when I was looking at these images. Number 6. Ariana Grande and her jumbo hand. Ariana Grande has been the center of a few different controversies surrounding her look, and specifically her skin tone, but we're not talking about that today. Instead of debating on what color Ariana's skin should or should not be, we're gonna talk about her frickin' huge alien hand in her 2015 post promoting a new single. Posing with her arms crossing over her chest, it appears as though the left side of her was distorted and bent inward, possibly to give her a more slim figure, but it had the added side effect of turning her hand into an inhumanly thin claw that you'd see reaching up from under your bed in the middle of the night. She obviously got quite a bit of hate for the edit, as she promptly turned off the comments under the post. But still. Number 5. Pumped Up. It's not just the ladies out there being called out for photoshopping themselves. Jake Paul, who has received all kinds of callouts for various different controversies, was also called out for continuously editing up the size of his traps for a more muscular physique. While there are a few examples of the Photoshop handiwork, the most glaring may be this post from June 24th, 2018, meant to help promote his upcoming fight. Unfortunately, Jake happened to botch his Photoshop job pumping up his traps, and he became partially ethereal. As you can see, these 3 stripes in the background that seem to go partially through his shoulder. That's because Jake's shoulder is surprisingly not that big. Thing is, this guy is actually in a pretty good shape. No one would have batted an eye at the size of this man's traps, but because he edited it, now he drew attention to it and turned what was supposed to be a hype-up post into a bit of a joke. Number 4. Lindsay Lohan. Not too long ago, former child star Lindsay Lohan was in a rough spot. Arrested for driving under the influence, crashing a car on a separate occasion, being on probation for years, making posts on Twitter using the N-word, things were not so good, and this Photoshop fail was kind of part of it. She has bounced back a little bit, so I don't feel that bad for calling this out, but in 2015, Lohan posted this picture to her Instagram with the caption, "My feet look red, lol, had to take that out. Only real red is in my hair." But no one was really focused on her feet or her hair, and more likely the focus was on the awkward pose and the fact that the doorway and part of the hallway behind her seemed like it looked like they were being warped and sucked into a black hole. It seems like it was an attempt to boost the curves on the star's rear end, but it wasn't exactly subtle, and it's kinda weird. Number 3. Kardashian Jenner's Calvin Klein. This post from Kim Kardashian promoting the Clan's fall 2018 Calvin Klein underwear and jeans campaign just has a number of things going on that are just straight up weird. Just sitting back and looking at it, the photo feels like it's not real. The lighting and placement of every single woman involved is just off. They all seem to be at strange angles, with the bizarre choice of placing the tallest of the bunch, Kendall, front and center while having her be the only one fully clothed, facing the wrong way and at such an unnatural angle. Almost every face, but specifically Kim, Kourtney, and Kylie's, look unnatural. For some reason, Khloe is shown as pregnant, but Kylie isn't at all, despite the fact that they were pregnant at the same time. And oh yeah, Kourtney's right forearm is the size of a cheese string. What even is that? Number 2. Disneyland. Circling back to the Kardashians yet again for this one, and again, this Photoshop edit is just a weird choice. So on Tuesday, April 12th, 2021, Khloe Kardashian posted pictures of her daughter, True, and their trip to Disneyland. The pics were super cute, and it was accompanied by a caption saying, "It's True's first time at Disneyland, and we're going on It's a Small World." See, the problem comes when 6 months earlier, Kim Kardashian posted a collection of her and her daughter's trip to Disneyland, which had one picture that featured her kid Chicago and True at Disneyland on a teacup ride, and another that saw them posing beside each other with Minnie Mouse ears. From the time those photos were even posted, people felt like there was something fishy about how True looked, like she just came out of a stock photo ad and had her face superimposed onto another kid's body, specifically Kylie Jenner's daughter, Stormi. And that's because that's exactly what happened. So when Khloe posted her story saying that this is True's first time at the park, it confirmed everything that they had photoshopped True onto Stormi. But for seemingly no actual reason? When fans called her out, all Khloe said was, quote, "Well, I effed this one up. Anyways, let's focus on something else. Our show airs in a few days." And I mean, hey, at least she didn't deny it, but like, what was the reason? I need to know. And finally, in at number 1, let's get serious. Look, we can take a dump on these celebrities photoshopping their own photos all day long, but for our number 1 spot, how about we address the reason people even do this in the first place? Because magazines and media have been doing it for years, providing unrealistic depictions of men and women, setting an example that who people naturally are is not good enough. The largest majority of Photoshop fails come from poorly edited magazine covers, changing the most irrelevant features of someone, slimming them down, removing freckles or birthmarks, airbrushing their skin, removing whole parts of their hair, but still pushing the idea of natural beauty. It's kinda disgusting, so let's find some examples to just show how ridiculous the editing of someone's body can be, shall we? First up, we have Zendaya, who called out Model S magazine for editing her waist and chest for a 2015 shoot. The real photo is on the right, and the unnatural looking edit is on the left. Way back in 1989, Oprah Winfrey had her head put onto the body of another woman, 60s star Anne Margaret, for the cover of TV Guide, and the publication didn't get the okay from either celebrity to do so. In 2010, Katy Perry had her skin smoothed over, her thighs thinned, her chest plumped, hand modified, and had several moles removed. In 2007, Men's Fitness featured tennis player Andy Roddick on their June/July cover, but seemed to give him another man's arms as they were about 10 inches larger than the originals and lacked a birthmark that the athlete is quite familiar with, since he had it since birth. Oh, and in 2017, Lupita Nyong'o was featured on the November issue of Grazia UK, with the publication photoshopping away her natural hair and smoothing out the rest of it, prompting a shot-firing Instagram post by Lupita. I've given you 5 examples right there, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg. It's like a shaving of ice from the tip of the iceberg. So before we hate on a celebrity for their edit, let's take a look at the bigger picture of why they even feel it necessary to edit themselves in the first place, shall we? And I got a little preachy near the end there. Whoops, but hopefully you enjoyed watching anyways. I'm Adam Andrews, this is Where Are They Now, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Stay safe out there, and peace.